Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Your host today is founder and president of Top Mexico Real Estate, Thomas Lloyd. Thomas Lloyd is a graduate of Purdue University Craner School of Management. He's been working professionally in Mexico since 1995, and in 2011, he was the first person ever to obtain a national regulated real estate degree in Mexico. Thomas founded Top Mexico Real Estate to ensure Americans and Canadians have the best experience when purchasing and investing in real estate in Mexico. Welcome to this webinar, and let's get started.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on the session with Top Mexico Real Estate. The topic we're going to explore is one that we're seeing more and more interest from the US and Canadian-based investors, especially those looking to generate income in Mexico without taking on the day-to-day stress of property management. The title of today's webinar is How US and Canadian Investors Can Build Passive Income in Mexico without managing properties. And the idea here is very simple. We're going to break down what this model actually looks like in practice, what has traditionally made real estate investing abroad difficult, and how the condo hotel structure is changing all of that completely. To help us unpack this property, I want to introduce Rodrigo Patino. He's an expert in international business and real estate development. He's been a leader in the real estate sector with an extensive background of successful large-scale developments. Since 2016, Rodrigo has served as a founding partner of a real estate trust where he has delivered over 10 major residential and commercial projects throughout Mexico. That's Mexico City, Guadalajara, Puebla, and Baja California. Rodrigo, thanks a lot for being here. We're excited to get into this with you and really break it down for our audience in a very practical way.
Hi, Thomas. It's also a pleasure for me to be with you this afternoon and to help explain to your audience the benefits of a hybrid model that combines owning a vacation property with generating passive income through the professional management of a hotel operator with over 35 years of experience.
Okay, well, thanks again for being here, and let's jump right into it, Rodrigo. Not that we want to discredit different platforms like Airbnb and Booking. They've opened a lot of doors, but for many investors, especially those living in the US, owning and managing property in Mexico can very quickly become more of a job than it is an investment. So, from what you've seen in so many years as a real estate developer, share us your thoughts and insights on this.
The goal of a real estate model like a condo hotel is not to discredit platforms like Airbnb or Booking or any of the OTAs that operate internationally. On the contrary, all those applications and online travel agencies are an essential part of the booking ecosystem from which our business model benefits. No, we are not trying to disqualify them. The key difference in a behavioral model is management. An investor using Airbnb has to manage, clean, maintain, and market their unit themselves. In the condo hotel model, the hotel operator is the professional who not only uses these same OTA platforms like Airbnb, Booking, Expedia to maximize occupancy, but also adds direct channels and contracts with traditional travel agencies to offer that quality and service of a hotel that a traditional Airbnb host cannot match. This means higher occupancy for the condo hotel, higher daily rates, and that makes this operational effort worthwhile the investor himself who buys a unit in a condo hotel.
Okay, that's very interesting. Now, people go in expecting passive income, and instead they end up dealing with operations, the logistics, the day in, day out, the decision-making activities. So the real question that a lot of our buyers that they have is there a way to still invest in real estate in Mexico, but without having to run it like a business.
Yes, Thomas, the model of a professionally operated condo hotel with an experienced team is indeed a solid and secure investment alternative that generates rental income and capital gains consistently. Then this is a viable option. The key to this model lies in three pillars that mitigate the risks of traditional foreign investment. They are a professional hotel management, as I mentioned earlier. Two, it is a constant return through a pool of rents, and the pool of rents is one of the most important characteristics of a hotel. By participating in a rental pool, the vacancy risk is diversified among all units. This means that income is distributed proportionally to the investment made by each investor, allowing us to guarantee a predictable cash flow regardless of the individual occupancy of their own unit. And the third point, which is very important, is the valuation of the asset or the capital gain that the asset generates over time. Therefore, these are properties that are 100% eligible for deeds with complete property titles. Before a Mexican notary public, the investor benefits from that natural appreciation of the real estate market, especially in growing markets like La Paz. This is further enhanced by the fact that the operator's brand and service add that premium value to the asset, allowing the investor to consolidate it by investing in a model of condo hotel.
So with that, let's start from the basics, because this is a concept many people have heard about, but they probably still don't fully understand exactly what is a condo hotel. So for those who own condos or have stayed in an Airbnb, how is the condo hotel different from a traditional vacation rental property or the STRs?
The fundamental difference is that a traditional vacation rental sells you the space and the location, while a condo hotel sells you a comprehensive service experience and premium luxury. So it is. It is a model that has significant differences between one and the other. An individual investor attempting to manage a property remotely cannot offer the consistency of a 4 or 5 star hotel service or a premium offering in a condo hotel. The added value for the investor comes directly from the professional management of the operator, which are relevant points. The 24/7 concierge and reception service provides immediate guest attention, something a remote host cannot match. 100% operated amenities that the condo hotel amenities function like those of a traditional hotel, such as valet parking, daily or on-demand cleaning service, and preventive and constant maintenance of all areas of the property. And finally, a 100% differentiated gastronomic offer with restaurants, bars, and rooftops operated and even with room service, or what is also known as in-house dining, which are also operated by 100% professional food and beverage managers that make that guest experience go to the highest level in terms of hospitality.
Right now, what everyone wishes or wants to know about from an ownership perspective, what does the investor actually own? Do they hold a full title to the property? And how is that different from models like the famous timeshares or fractionals? What is the difference?
In Mexico, the difference between shared ownership or timeshare is very clear, and being able to compare it with a fractional ownership model is crucial and radically different from a condo hotel model. The investor acquires full ownership through a public deed or a full title deed through a trust and is 100% aligned with Mexican legislation. This means one who has full ownership is the owner, the legitimate 100% owner of this property or this condo. And does it not make it a purchase of weeks of use or a fraction of the asset that in the end may be diluted over time and losing the right to use those weeks? And the second point, which is also very important, is legal certainty. The property must always be purchased in a condo hotel by means of this public deed or by means of the trust that maximizes the legal security of the American or Canadian investor.
Rodrigo, what if it's a Mexican corporation? Can the Mexican corporation also purchase one of the condos?
If he is Mexican, he doesn't have to buy it through a trust. He simply does it through a traditional public deed because ultimately he has that dual nationality that allows him to make the purchase as if he were a Mexican living in Mexico.
Hey, Rodrigo, now, once someone does own they have title to the condo unit, that's usually where things start getting more detailed. In a condo hotel setup, how is the operational side handled? Things like the maintenance, the guest management and the bookings. How does all of that operate?
This is where the business model has a major differentiator. By having a well planned and efficient operation, it allows the owner to avoid paying maintenance, property taxes, insurance, operating fees, or other operating expenses. All these costs are generated from the condo hotel's own operating profit and covered by this income. This comprehensive management by the operator ensures that reservations are managed and the property is properly maintained and cleaned. The mechanics are very simple. The hotel operator acts as a long term management partner, and its success is directly linked to the performance of the hotel. Therefore, the operator's own effort will be to ensure high occupancy rates so that he can also have high incomes derived from this proper hotel management. As I mentioned, they manage the cash flow, collect all operating expenses, including HOAs and all those gross revenues. The operational part is subtracted to truly have a passive result for investors.
And that's a lot of work. So what exactly is the split? How much if the revenue is coming in, how much stays with the condo owner and how much goes to the operator?
That's an excellent question, Thomas, and it touches on the core of a condo hotel's business model, which is transparency and alignment of interest between the operator and investors, and the mechanics of how a return is generated and distributed in a hotel. It is classified into several steps. The first step is to know the gross income of the rental pool or the revenue pool. They're all rental income generated by each of the units in the rental pool, including the rental of the suite. The daily rate is added together in a common pool. What does it mean that we are all included in that gross operating income of all units? Once we have the gross income, we can calculate all the operating expenses of the same condo hotel. Then, from this gross income, we subtract all the direct or indirect operating expenses that work for the daily issues of the hotel, such as payroll, maintenance, utilities, water, electricity, all marketing costs, and all maintenance fees. Subtracting operating expenses from gross income allows us to calculate a gross operating profit, or NOA, and this gross profit minus expenses is the figure on which the operator's commission is calculated. Therefore, the operator cannot actually charge indiscriminately, but rather it is linked to the real utility of the property. That commission, generally in Mexico in the industry, is listed between 15 to 16% of that net profit. And once we subtract that 15%, we already have the distribution that will remain for the investor. This means that of 100% of that gross operating profit, the investor will receive 85% after deducting the commission, which can then be distributed among the investors of the condo hotel.
Okay, Rodrigo. So now we talked about the condo hotel model, and we know these types of developments are found throughout the coastal areas of Mexico. But from your perspective, what is the next real opportunity for investors for the taking advantage of the appreciation? Where do you see this balance of growth, potential, and valued investments?
Indeed, Thomas, there are condo hotel developments similar to our product called the X. However, Choosing La Paz as the location for this new project was not by chance. A market study was conducted of all coastal tourist destinations in Mexico to validate which would be the best location for this model and which offered the best returns for all our investors. As finalists, we had three alternatives, which were Puerto Escondido, Oaxaca, Mazatlan, Sinaloa, and La Paz, Baja California Sur. After conducting an analysis of the differences and advantages between the three locations, a well analyzed and professional conclusion was reached, where La Paz offered the best conditions of legal security, proper land tenure, ease, and support from the municipal government, and high international tourism promotion of the entire city destination. All of this makes La Paz today a market with a significant advantage that will be reflected in the returns of all our investors. And because it is the only coastal market with a hotel occupancy deficit, it's a concept that the X came to exploit.
To make the distinction between the monthly rental income potential, what triggered or what made you excited about La Paz in regards to appreciation in that zone in that Baja California La Paz?
La Paz not only offers a solid operating cash flow that we estimate will be between 9% and 11% annually free of expenses, but La Paz is also currently a national leader in real estate appreciation. Taking statistical data from the Mexican federal government, La Paz reported the number one spot as a municipality within the country with 14.9% appreciation. And it also happened that in 2025, the state capital gain of Baja California Sur was 14.7%. So we are talking about La Paz and Baja California Sur as a municipality and as a state being the two places where the greatest capital gain can be obtained for a property.
And so basically, La Paz is one of those early stage market with tons of potential. Can you tell us why the ex condos? What's behind the ex condos? What was that spark that made you, Rodrigo, choose La Paz for that first project for the condo hotels?
The biggest and most radical difference is that we've come, as I said, to exploit that hotel occupancy deficit. It is the only city today that has a hotel occupancy deficit, and we want to provide the city with a professional offering that generates high demand. The moment in La Paz is here. These are opportunities that only come around once every few decades, and we want to be in the right place at the right time for the city to offer this differentiating option so that our investors can benefit along with us.
Okay, so a lot of us, a lot of the viewers, we know Cabo. We've heard of Cabo, but La Paz has a different type of vibe, or how would you describe La Paz to the people from Los Angeles, from Chicago? How do you describe La Paz?
This comment you make, Thomas, is an excellent observation, and you touch on the essential point of why La Paz is the crown jewel of Baja California Sur. Cabo is a destination that is focused on mass tourism. It has a very mature hotel infrastructure and is focused on large, all inclusive resorts and attracting large volumes of tourists. La Paz is radically different. La Paz offers a value proposition completely focused on a coastal city with its own essence and spirit. And for an investor, like you mentioned, from Los Angeles, Chicago, or San Diego, the market is already saturated with those traditional investment options. And La Paz is a magnet for this type of investor because it has differentiating characteristics compared to Los Cabos. The first is that boutique exclusivity that the city offers with a high average ticket price. Today, La Paz has 11 world class marinas that attract a segment of tourists with very high purchasing power who seek discreet luxury experiences, which is part of the essence of the X, personalized services, and not the anonymity of a mega resort, but something that truly makes them feel part of the second point, which is something that few cities in Mexico can offer. It's all about ecotourism, and what sets it apart from swimming with whale sharks and gray whale watching to all the dynamism of La Paz Bay, which has been named by Jacques Cousteau as the aquarium of the world. Few cities have all that ecotourism potential, and we should take advantage of it. How it is being handled professionally and well managed by the government of La Paz. So, the idea of mixing adventure with nature at high prices is a crucial aspect of the city. And lastly, and very importantly, it is a sustainable and controlled development that the government of La Paz is generating for its entire urban development plan. Unlike other destinations that are overdeveloping, La Paz is professionalizing its infrastructure, including its world class gastronomic offerings, and in this way, it is maintaining a steady pace without exceeding its capacity. It is very important that a destination does not exceed its maximum capacity, and the city is maintaining and controlling this in a very good, very organized way by the government and by business owners. And this guarantees that constant, solid added value that does not diminish in the long term. So, in essence, Tom La Paz offers the investor a differentiating proposition that capitalizes on that exclusivity, its understated luxury, nature, and authentic Mexican culture. What we want to do is position the X for 3 in a high ticket niche that seeks to invest in a destination before it reaches its peak.
Rodrigo, looking a little bit forward because real estate is always about timing and growth. Tell us three or four key moves and actions, both at the government and organizations, the private sector. What are they doing in La Paz on the map that makes it next big thing in tourism?
A long term vision is very important to ensure the added value and profitability of the destination, and it is what makes La Paz a solid investment, with a strategic alignment of both the public and private sectors. We business owners are in close contact with the municipal and state government, which allows us to focus on quality rather than excessive quantity. The 3 points that I could summarize about the city are: one, that it has a great, orderly, and balanced urban development, that it is regulated by the authorities, and that it does not allow changes in land use that could at some point exceed what the city can offer. That's one. The second, which is extremely important, is that leadership in security. At the national level, La Paz can be ranked as one of the three safest destinations in the country, and this is the result of continuous work by the government to provide that feeling and perception of security. And obviously, it's an impact for the investor since the city is consolidated with that security, and you can perceive it when walking around, going out to places, and being able to enjoy it in a comprehensive way. And point three, which is also very important, is that active conservation that the municipality of La Paz has for everyone, for its entire coastal area, which, as I mentioned, is catalogued as the aquarium of the world. This constant action is a collaboration between civil society to get involved and take care of the sea, take care of marine species, and ensure that there is no detriment to the quality of the Bay of La Paz. And that impact is obviously reflected in tourism, in ensuring a positive experience, and that swimming with whale sharks, whale watching, and sea lion sightings can be done.
Okay, so that is very impressive about the infrastructure there, La Paz. Now, I know that your group of investors, you're launching, it's almost sold out. This project that is in La Paz, and it looks to be an incredible opportunity. Can you start telling us more about your project, the location, the positioning, the pricing, the overall business and management of this of your project?
The X is the materialization of a comprehensive vision that is strategically located in the heart of the historic center of La Paz, just a few blocks from the boardwalk, allowing guests to experience La Paz on foot, enjoy its restaurants, galleries, and the local atmosphere. As I mentioned earlier, the central concept is focused on what we call hybrid luxury investment, which is conceptualized by 3 points. The first is an investment in an asset where the owner is 100% owner of a luxury unit, which is fully furnished and equipped, and for the price paid, they don't have to worry about adding anything else. That means that all the FF and E and all the hotel OS and E that is needed to put that unit into operation and enjoy it is included in the price. You don't have to buy anything extra, and that guarantees that the property's value will be increased and that it will be located in a premium area. The second point is the hotel operation. The unit is delivered turnkey, as I mentioned, and the hotel operator, with over 35 years of experience, which is the case with Operadora Uno, the company we hired for the operation, handles the entire management. This eliminates 100% of the operational concerns for an investor who doesn't have to worry about whether the unit is rented or not, or whether it's generating income or not. In short, that's what the X is, not just a property, but an investment vehicle designed to be centrally located, passive, and highly profitable.
Okay, and with the most condo hotels, they include amenities. What amenities are you offering there at Next compared to other condo hotels?
A condo hotel typically offers amenities of a premium hotel, such as recreational areas, a swimming pool, and buffet style restaurants. In the specific case of the X in La Paz, we have raised the standard to attract that high level tourism segment that seeks a complete experience with service. And the amenities that were designed based on our market studies were to have a restaurant and bar areas 100% operated with a gastronomic offering of 7 different Mediterranean cuisines, where quality is not only served to guests, but also attracts local tourism, which is very important for branding and the brand concept. Another important feature regarding amenities is the rooftop pool and bar with 100% panoramic views, also operated by the hotel. This key social space boasts an infinity pool 33 meters high, 4 jacuzzis, professional mixology service, and is designed to be a destination in itself, completely independent of the hotel, providing additional brand positioning. At the same time, this rooftop will also include a DJ booth and outdoor showers, creating social areas in a lounge format that doesn't disturb guests or neighbors and maintains the low impact essence that the city of La Paz seeks. And finally, all the additional services we can offer, which are, as I mentioned, a complete 24/7 concierge service, valet parking, 24-hour security, and controlled access, and something very differentiating in the plaza, which is having underground parking so that cars do not raise temperatures in the summer seasons.
Now, we talked a little bit, or you've talked a lot about the guest experience, how important it is to have that guest experience in La Paz, or and even the day-to-day management. Can you explain how what you guys do versus the condo
The
owner?
unit's management is completely hands free. The investor doesn't have to worry about anything at all. The hotel operator, in this case Operadora Uno, which will operate the X, assumes 100% total responsibility for the daily operation. This includes important aspects such as managing all guests, check in, check out, 24/7 service, and resolving any problems or incidents so that the investor doesn't have to worry about these issues. Obviously, preventive and corrective maintenance is also included, as well as always being attentive to the property's needs and maintaining it at the highest quality standards so that guests always have the same premium perception of this property. And obviously, bookings and marketing, the operator has to use all channels, all OTAs, all national and international agencies, and all direct booking channels to maximize occupancy and average daily rate. The aim is to obtain and obviously control the cash flow and expenses that must be covered directly from all the operating expenses generated by the rental pool, and to be able to distribute the income generated by the condo hotel in the most effective way. Therefore, the investor's only participation is the quarterly receipt of the net profit. You need to review your monthly financial reports, as I mentioned before, and the idea is that the income you actually receive is 100% passive, allowing the investor to focus on their life and daily activities and not have it become another worry when investing in the X.
Okay, well, your experience is definitely, I'm impressed. All of the details that you put in. You've made several hotels before, constructed.
We have developed hotels in other cities, such as Mexico City and Toluca, and we have tried to apply that experience from previous designs to improve and maximize it for this new development at the X.
So everything sounds very solid. Are there still, right now, the units that are for sale still available? What's the status of those right now?
Well, the response we've had, Tom, has been very exciting. Demand has been exceptional, and I believe that the same demand is validating the investment thesis in La Paz and in the development of the X to this day. Of the 44 units we have available to market to investors, the X only has 12 units left, and these two units represent some of the best locations in the development with the most privileged views. We have 6 units under the apartment model, which is a 77 square meter unit, double bedrooms with king size beds, 2 bathrooms, living room, kitchen, dining room, and 2 balconies. And we also have 6 deluxe units, which are larger units with 3 double bedrooms with king size beds, 3 bathrooms, a living room, a kitchen, a dining room, and also 2 balconies. So we have that differentiated offer between units with 2 double bedrooms and units with 3 double bedrooms.
Okay, so right now you're right in the construction, the final phases of the construction. When is the delivery date?
The delivery of the X is segmented into 2 parts. One in the construction of the building and the other in the furniture and equipment part. The first part, the real estate delivery, will be carried out in September of this year, 2026, and will be through the public deed and the settlement by the investor of 65% of the value of the property. The remaining 35% is paid upon signing the purchase agreement, and once the real estate portion is delivered in September 2026, we will have a 90-day period together with the hotel operator to fully equip the property and integrate all the furniture and equipment, FF and E, which is the entire hotel outfitting process, all the operating and maintenance, OS and E. Then in December, we will make the second delivery, this time to the investor of the furniture portion. From that moment on, the rental pool begins to consolidate and passive income generation starts, already at 100% occupancy and hotel functionality. So it's very important because it's an investment that has a very short waiting period to become profitable practically this same year.
On the sales, you only have a few sales, but is there anything dependent? Is it depends on selling the whole thing so that you hit your construction deadlines?
It is fundamental. Clarify that point. Thomas, the opening and start of operations is not linked to the need for commercialization. The X has a commitment, like us as real estate developers, that the sale of 100% of the units does not depend on the marketing of the units. This means we have a commitment to put the units into operation, whether they are marketed or not, and to continue with the marketing until it is 100% complete, even during a hotel operational transition.
Yeah, that's very important for your past investors and new investors coming in. So that's a good point there. Now, every investment, especially in tourism, has for us, how has X hotels, X condos, how have you prepared for market shifts or off seasons in tourism?
Through diversification of demand and proactive management by the hotel operator, that is a major difference in the responsibility that the operator has. And at the X, no, it simply stays put, waiting for a high season or high holiday occupancy. The hotel operator, operadora, has to implement a revenue management strategy throughout the year. It needs to validate and diversify its booking channels, not only operating through OTS, but also signing contracts with national and international travel agencies and creating loyalty programs. Direct to have greater control over rates and be able to generate higher income. It needs to attract executive tourism and conferences. This means that if there is no traditional holiday tourism offer, we have to find ways to attract small tourism conferences that increase hotel occupancy and maintain average rates. It is also very important to make rates flexible throughout the different months of the year and to know how the market behaves in each of the periods in order to optimize both the high and low rates and ensure that reservations can always be secured. And lastly, and most importantly, is to be aligned with the interests of the income pool. It is this mechanism that diversifies the risk for all investors and does not have to be linked to the direct income of each unit. Having this entire pool of rental income ensures that income derived from this proportional division of the hotel's profit among the 42 investors can always be guaranteed.
Okay, Rodrigo, I'm going to shift now from the business aspect, and now I'm going to go into personal, the investors who want to start utilizing, enjoying their real estate investment. Now, how does that work if, okay, I own a condo right there in X condos, and I want to come down for a vacation? How does that mechanisms, how does that work?
This is a very important point, Thomas, as it relates to the flexibility the owner has and is a key differentiator in the condo hotel model that is well designed and focused on the investor and not the hotel operator. We have paid close attention to finding that right balance, recognizing that the unit is first and foremost the property of an investor and that the appeal of owning that vacation property in La Paz should not disappear due to rigidity on the part of the hotel operator who is only focused on high returns. In the X, the operating agreement establishes a generous and flexible period for personal use. That annual personal use is linked to a period of up to 8 weeks a year or 2 months. These 8 weeks offer you complete flexibility of choice, as it is important to mention that these weeks can be placed in any of the 52 weeks of the year, including peak seasons such as Easter, Christmas, and summer, and the operator does not impose any restrictions on dates for the investor. So that's a point. I think it makes perfect sense and differentiates it from other similar business models. Ours will always prioritize the flexibility of the investor, not the operator. And how does this work? It involves reserving these 8 weeks or these 2 months through a reservation mechanism in which the owner simply notifies the operator in the first 10 days of January which weeks or days will be blocked and removed from the rental pool. Obviously, when blocking and removing them, the operator takes them out of the market and they will no longer be included in this pool of rents and income, but it has the flexibility to enjoy its property whenever it wants. So, in this way, the investor gets the best of both worlds: a robust passive income for most of the time, 44 weeks a year, and the complete freedom to enjoy their vacation investment with their family whenever they want, without being limited to the off season weeks that other models often propose for the private use of the condominiums.
Okay, folks, if you put attention, put an asterisk next to that. This is very impressive because most of the condo hotels, they're very strict on blackout dates, meaning that the majority of condo hotel investment opportunities like this, the hotel operator strictly wants the Christmas week, New Year's week, Easter, those really key. So that this group is offering this open so that you can stay in your condo during that time period. That's a big asterisk mark, highlight area. Okay, and Rodrigo, how did we split the revenues? How the condo owners, is it just a straight split? There's 42 units and they all get the same percentage out of the rental revenue?
No, the income pool is not a linear distribution, and it is very important to clarify that. It is not linear or equitable, but rather a distribution proportional to the investment and the size of the property of each investor. So that proportionality or that distribution mechanism is based first on the percentage of the condominium that is stipulated in the public deed. This means that each unit is stipulated as having a percentage of co-ownership of the total condominium, and a larger unit receives a higher percentage than a smaller unit, and that proportionality calculation is linked to the gross operating profit of the entire pool of income. This means that the 85% of that profit that is distributed among the 42 investors is not equal, but rather that percentage of co-ownership is applied in order to arrive at a final number. A simple example I'd like to give you is if the total net profit to be distributed is $100,000 per month and one unit represents 2.5% of the total condominium, the investor will receive that 2.5% of the total profit. That is, in this example, $2,500, which is fair because their initial investment was greater than that of an owner who has a smaller percentage.
The real estate investors mainly, they're always looking at, okay, what kind of rental revenue is created and also depreciation. So what are you expecting potential for the rental revenues?
No, the income pool is not a linear distribution, and it is very important to clarify that. It is not linear or equitable, but rather a distribution proportional to the investment and the size of the property of each investor. So that proportionality or that distribution mechanism is based first on the percentage of the condominium that is stipulated in the public deed. This means that each unit is stipulated as having a percentage of co-ownership of the total condominium, and a larger unit receives a higher percentage than a smaller unit, and that proportionality calculation is linked to the gross operating profit of the entire pool of income. This means that the 85% of that profit that is distributed among the 42 investors is not equal, but rather that percentage of co-ownership is applied in order to arrive at a final number. A simple example I'd like to give you is if the total net profit to be distributed is $100,000 per month and one unit represents 2.5% of the total condominium, the investor will receive that 2.5% of the total profit. That is, in this example, $2,500, which is fair because their initial investment was greater than that of an owner who has a smaller percentage.
Let's talk a little bit about the exit strategy. If someone decides to sell in the future, how does that process work? Because you're tied in with a rental agreement with the operator. So how does that work?
Yes, it's something we're very concerned about, that all investors can have this easy exit strategy and that they can have that liquidity in any real estate investment, and the X is no exception. Here, the way to exit the condo hotel model is aligned transparently as required by all Mexican laws. We, as developers, do not have any restrictions or limitations that would prevent an investor from transferring ownership to another investor and collecting both their capital and their profit through capital gains. This sale is free and transparent. You don't have to pay us any fee. You can do it through any Mexican real estate agency and put your unit up for sale. The only thing we ask of the investor is that they give us that continuity of the investment model. That is, that when selling to a third party or a new investor, they notify them along with the sales title that they are acquiring a business model of a condo hotel that will enter into a rental pool, and that they will have income from this operation, and that the private use of the unit is linked up to 8 weeks a year. So what we're asking is that the new investor be informed how the model works so that we can market it.
Okay, okay. And this new buyer, or let's call it investor two, they will have a rental agreement for the remaining portion of the 3 years, or when they buy, they have to set up another 3 year agreement with the operator. How does that work?
Not in this notification, the new investor or this second investor will maintain the remaining period of this initial 3 year period. And once the initial 3 year period is completed, together with the other 41 investors, will decide whether the operator continues or whether it will. A replacement is sought through a new operator. So let's say that the period is the continuation of that of the main investor or the number one investor who entered the business model.
Okay, okay, gotcha. Okay, so looking at we talked a little bit about the tourism and the trends in Baja California, La Paz. What kind of occupancy rates are you estimating for the next 2, 3, or 5 years?
This is a very important question, Thomas. And we have intentionally made very conservative projections that can always be met by the operator and that have a growth ceiling so that we can't give fantastic numbers that the operator can't later achieve. As I mentioned, one of the important reasons for deciding to start in La Paz is that the city has a hotel occupancy deficit, and that deficit has been growing to this day. This means that during 2023, there was a weighted average hotel occupancy of 65% throughout the municipality. For 2024 and 2025, this average hotel occupancy grew to 70%, also averaged throughout the municipality. What we want to capture from these official figures reported by the Hotel and Tourism Business Associations of La Paz and the La Paz Trusts. We want to manage a conservative start, managing 65%, which is what was reported in 2023, and maintaining it in 2027. We consider that at least for the first 12 to 18 months, in which there is a learning curve and optimization of marketing of all reservations, we maintain this offer of 65%. To begin with, start increasing it from month 18 onwards and achieve these standards of 70% annual hotel occupancy, as this municipal trend is indicating.
Okay, I'm going to do a 180 degrees here on you, Rodrigo. The owner of a condo, does he have an option if he doesn't want to put the condo into a rental program? Is that allowed?
The answer is that if there is a contractual obligation to include the unit in the rental pool operation, because if we start removing units from the rental pool, profitability and operating costs could be affected, then 100% they have to enter this rental pool and enter this condo hotel model system.
Look, folks, I don't know about you, but this is very interesting. This is super exciting. This is a new and up and coming region in Mexico, La Paz. The infrastructure sounds incredible. It sounds very professional, very organized group between the governments, different associations. Other things that I've made notes here upon is the commissions, not the commission, but the rental revenue split between the operator and the condo owners. That's a very, very interesting, that split that they're doing. And also the other thing I wrote notes upon that you guys should as well is the delivery and operations. That's right around the corner. That's this year, 2026. So your investment will go right to work immediately. And if I remember correctly, Rodrigo said that they're going to be soft opening is going to happen in December or January. So that is very impressive too. Another note for you all to take notes upon is the flexibility of the blackout dates. I know that's always been a concern to many of my past clients who have purchased or invested into condo hotels. That little blackout, although as an investment, that's a minor issue, but it has become something that they do want and really appreciate that flexibility. So I'm impressed. And I know if you love Mexico, if you love real estate and you want to build up your wealth for you and your family, definitely you need to two steps here that I suggest you do is download this information. We have a PDF that, as you can tell from this conversation, Rodrigo is very organized and has really studied details of not just La Paz, but the condo hotel. This structure is he's adapted it to many of the other condo hotels that I have studied in the past 5, 10 years. So I think you need to download, get a copy of this, learn as much as you can about condo hotels, and then two, contact us here, set up an appointment. We're trying to share as much as we can here on this webinar, but there's so much more details, and it's very good to have a one-on-one with me, with Rodrigo, the expert on these condo hotels. Um, there's a lot of information. I would love to meet with you, talk with you, listen to what your concerns, what your dreams are, and we've been doing this for over 20 years. So I would love to share my experience with you. And well, I want we're out of time right now, but I do want to give a special thanks to Rodrigo. Um, Rodrigo, thank you so much. You spent a lot of good time, answered very in-depth answers to the questions I'm throwing at you. So thank you, Rodrigo.
Thank you, Thomas, for the time you dedicated to this webinar. I hope this information is useful for your entire audience and that we can be in touch in the future for more information for your audience.
I repeat, Rodrigo, this is very impressive. This is a new type of on a hotel concept. You've adapted, you've adjusted. So I'm impressed with it. So thanks again. Folks, I'm Thomas Lloyd. This is Top Mexico Real Estate. And at Top Mexico Real Estate, we make it happen. Hasta luego, amigos.